And the forehead is down on the mat. You want to make sure you're not pressing the nose and squishing the nose, but notice that Missy's upper back and the back of her head are in line. And then just pull your arms back slightly, Missy. You want the arms in line with the shoulders. Stay broad across the upper back and breathe in. And then as you exhale, press into your hands and slide your heart forward between your shoulders. So this is called a breaststroke prep. Hold there and inhale, and then exhale and come back down to your neutral position. As Missy inhales, she'll think of stretching her head away from her feet. And then as she exhales, she's just opening up. She's stretching across the front body and extending just through the upper back. And then roll all the way back down. We'll do that 4 more times. All of these exercises can be done between 5 and 8 times. You don't really need to do them any more than 8, but you should do them at least 5. This whole routine, once you learn it, can take you less than 10 minutes to complete. So again, notice that Missy is just moving from the upper and middle part of her back, and the lower back is staying quiet. And then when she's done with those repetitions, we'll start in that same prone position, but now Missy will keep her hands by her sides. So nice and long by the sides, turn the palms towards the hips, and this is just a small hover. The idea here is to really activate through the upper part of the spine. So notice that Missy is just hovering slightly off the mat and then coming back down to the mat, letting the shoulders roll forward. As you inhale, roll the shoulders back, and exhale, just lift the heart and the head, reaching the fingertips towards the feet. Hold it for an inhale breath, and then exhale, return back to the mat. This exercise is fantastic for good upper back posture. If you go too high, you're missing the essence of the exercise. You really want to find the spot where you feel it in the upper back, but not in the lower back. Let's do 2 more like that, Missy. And then from here, come back onto your hands and knees. And we'll do an opposite arm and leg reach. Some people call this bird dog, some people call this swim prep. So Missy will just reach one leg behind her and the opposite arm in front of her. Notice that she's very balanced and even. So the front of her pelvis is reaching straight down to the floor. Her leg is reaching straight out from her hip. Her opposite arm is reaching straight forward. Now with a straight arm and straight leg, just touch the fingers and the toes down to the mat and bring them back up. Good, and 2. And nice, easy reach up. We'll do 8 of these. As Missy lowers and lifts her arm and her leg, she's really thinking of extending, of creating space in that hip joint, space in that shoulder joint. So almost like she wants to touch either side of the room with her fingertips and her toes. In Pilates, we like to keep really long. Her core is on, and that keeps her back from moving excessively. This movement really comes from the leg, from the hip joint, and not from the lower back joint. And then switch sides, and you'll do the other side. Reaching arm and leg out, breathe in, exhale, touch the fingers and the toes down. Inhale, elongate and lift, and exhale for 2, keeping that deep core on. So the idea is that you're just pulling the lower abdomen in and up. It's a very gentle connection. It's not with all of your effort. When you turn your stabilizers on, you want them to be on at about 30% of their maximal capacity. So you're not shutting the body down, but you're keeping the body stable. And then 1 more time. And then Missy will bring everything back to the starting position and then just walk her hands forward 2 little baby steps. And then from here, curl her toes underneath her and lift her knees up so she's in a plank position. Good. Notice in plank, there's a straight line from her ear, through her shoulder, through her hips, through her toes. Missy, just bend your knees and come back down. We have to line you up at the camera. So just kind of go that way towards your feet a little bit. I'll cut that part out. Okay. So breathe in and then exhale, come up to your plank position. So Missy wants to hold her plank. Notice that she is keeping her shoulders in line with her wrists, and her upper back and her middle back and her lower back are one long line. She's not sagging. So Missy, show us a sag. Yeah, you don't want to be there. You want to push away from your hands, push away from your toes, and lift like there's a big, big hoist around your midsection. Now, if this is very uncomfortable for you, you can come down to your knees and do the same thing. You want to think of a long diagonal line, still engaging the core. And then if you have wrist problems, you can come down to your elbows and then slide your knees off the mat. Good. Notice that her eye line is looking down, but her head is still in line with her upper back. So she still has those stabilizers on in her upper back to prevent her neck from being strained. So when you have your plank position, you want to hold it for between 30 seconds and a minute. That'll really get your core going. And then come back down to the mat, Missy. Nicely done. Now turn over onto your side. And we'll finish up with a side plank. This is a optional exercise, but if you can do a front plank for a minute, then you definitely can do a side plank. You're going to set up by keeping those elbows underneath the shoulder, stretching the legs long. Good. You can take your top arm and keep it down on the mat as a kickstand, and then just push your hips off the mat. Good. Notice that Missy's lifting from the bottom of her body. So like there's a hoist under the hips, under the middle part of the torso, and under the upper back. Hand can be at your side. It can be up above your head. Good, and notice her shoulders are stacked, her hips are stacked. She's pushing into her bottom foot and pushing away from her bottom elbow. And again, you want to hold that position for 30 seconds to a minute, and then repeat it on the other side. So our instructor today is Missy McMurray. She's a certified Stop Pilates instructor, and we're so thankful that she showed us this home core routine.